Back here on SportsLine, phone lines open, 737-7767. We're going to talk NCAA tournaments and more coming up here. So get in with your bracket questions. Do want to tell you, though, the Predators on the ice tonight in Smashville taking on the Kings. A possible playoff preview with the Kings sitting on top of the Pacific Division, already having locked up a playoff berth. And the Predators currently sitting in the #1 wild card spot. If the season ended today, it would be Nashville and Los Angeles in round one of the playoffs. Could be good news because the Preds are up 2-0 so far tonight. James Neal with an early second period goal, and Mike Fisher, who is celebrating his 1,000th career game played. He did that earlier this month. The celebration night honoring him tonight, Bridgestone Arena. He gets a goal to just add to the celebration. It's now 2-0 Predators in the second period. 737-7767 is our number. That is clearly not the right button. Let's go to Paulie. Paulie, I think I got you up this time as opposed to just a dial tone. Thanks for calling it.
Yes, I just wanted to say about the MTSU players. My son played ball from 6th grade all the way through college, and what a thrill to be just a parent sitting in the stands. I am watching the ball games. It brings it all back. But anyway, for instance, we won 2 state camps, and my son had 24 points in the first half. Well, you know, they came in, they shut him out. Second half, he didn't have anything. So, you know, people watch how you play, like how they played against Michigan, and they just came in and shut those players down. And they don't have anything to be ashamed of.
Oh, absolutely not. There's no question about it. I think you're right. I think obviously you see what somebody did and what they have success with. And the two things Middle Tennessee did against Michigan State is they were able to drive and utilize those bigs off the bounce, which Michigan State struggled to defend because of their size and frankly kind of a lack of athleticism inside with their great size. And then they were able to kick off of that and find guys like Giddy Potts, who's one of the best three-point shooters in the country, and they shot well on Friday. So what does Syracuse want to do? They want to eliminate the drive, which that 2-3 zone and all that length that they have does very well, and they want to contest every three-point shot that you have. And Middle struggled to shoot yesterday, just about 30% for the game. So Syracuse did what they were trying to do. That can be the difference sometime, one day to the next. It's matchups and it's how you play, and sometimes just as simple as whether the ball goes in the hoop or not, and you very well know that.
And also, my sister is from Michigan, and I'm from Tennessee, so yay.
Yeah, bragging rights for you. We appreciate the call tonight. And that's the thing, is that's what's amazing about this tournament. I will say this. I think, obviously, you sing the praises of Middle Tennessee and the players on that team for the way they conducted themselves on and off the court this weekend and throughout this March run. But also Tom Izzo. Props to him, because that was a devastating loss. And he said so after the game. He said that was the most fun team he'd ever been around because of how hard they worked, the things that they did off the court, what they put into this season and their careers. And here they were, most of the country believing that they could win the national championship this year, and they go down spectacularly in one of the biggest upsets in NCAA tournament history. And there's Tom Izzo, shaking every Middle player's hand, congratulating each and every one of them, telling how great they played. He said afterwards, they won the game. We didn't lose the game. That's special stuff right there. I think he was just a totally class guy. And, you know, when you think about it, Tom Izzo has been the beneficiary of madness in his career. Just last year, I think they were a 7 seed. They got all the way to the Final Four. A couple of years ago, they upset a #1 seed Virginia team. They have had plenty of March moments at Michigan State. And so while this one certainly hurts because they thought this season, this team could be the one to get them that elusive national championship, but they've been gunning for since when they won it in 2000, they're going to be back. They're going to have other opportunities for this in the future. And I thought the way he handled himself after the game, just very, very classy as well. As I mentioned before the break, another team locally that just had a tremendous turnaround season, Tennessee State. Let's look a little bit at what they did. The big turnaround, one of the biggest we've seen in college basketball history, not just this year, and hear from Dana Ford about his take on where the Tigers program goes from here. From Big Blue Nation to Big Blue Rising, Tennessee State wrapping up one of the nation's biggest turnarounds. The Tigers fell to Ball State in a double overtime heartbreaker in the first round of the CIT Tuesday, but still tied the school record for wins in a season with 20. TSU coach Dana Ford joining us in studio tonight. I know the result was not what you wanted on Tuesday, but when you look back on this year, the 20 wins, getting back to the postseason, what does that say about your players and the direction this program is headed?
Well, I think we turned the corner a little bit, and we've got things in working order now where we can kind of have some preseason expectations and kind of be a team that could contend within our conference. We started the year off with a major injury to one of our better players, and we really didn't know how good we were going to be this year when he went down. But I just thought our kids had a lot of resiliency the entire year and played with a lot of character and allowed us to have what we look back on as a pretty successful year.
You inherited a program that won just 5 games the season before. You only won 5 games in your first season. So what changed? What was the buy-in and the attitude for a 15-win increase into this year?
Well, I think that we had a talent increase for sure with some of our Division I transfers, and then just some maturity with some of our first-year players that became second-year players, and understanding what we expected, and then we got off to a pretty good start, and that gave us some confidence because even in that first 5-win season, I mean, we lost 10 games, by a couple possessions, so it could have went either way. And this year, things happen to go our way.
Well, from 5 wins to 20, one of the biggest turnarounds in college basketball history. No question, the Tigers are headed in the right direction. Yeah, the largest turnaround ever from one season to the next in college basketball. 17 wins. Tennessee State had 15 this year, from 5 last year to 20. Arkansas Little Rock, by upsetting Purdue, the first round of the tournament, got 16 wins this year. So second biggest turnaround in the country this year. Lots to build on there if you're Dana Ford and Tennessee State. I'm sure some schools, some athletic directors have taken notice of that. I've heard he's been a hot name already discussed at a very young age. He was the youngest coach in the country when he was hired by Teresa Phillips a couple years ago to come to Tennessee State. Now still just 31 years of age, I believe, going on 32. So he's got some opportunities out there in his future. It'll be interesting to see how long TSU can hold on to him. They hope a long, long time because he's done tremendous work turning the program around and giving them hope for the future that OVC titles can be back in the mix. They haven't done that for quite a little while, and getting to the NCAA tournament would be huge for the TSU Tigers. Dana might also have an opportunity to become an analyst at some point if he wants to, because he also helped last night kind of break down the NCAA tournaments and what he has seen with me as well. Let's take a look first at the Midwest bracket. That, of course, where Middle Tennessee goes down. The Blue Raiders losing to Syracuse. Syracuse in that interesting matchup that we talked about. The only 2 Cinderellas left, if you are willing to call them that. 10-seed Syracuse, 11-seed Gonzaga. Part of an interesting Midwest bracket that'll be in the United Center next week. Here's Dana's thoughts on what you'll see in Chicago. Time now for our selected Chevy dealers bracket breakdown. Back with Dana Ford to take a look at the Midwest region. Dana, look at Syracuse in this draw. They start with Dayton, then they get the 15 seed in Middle Tennessee. Now in the Sweet 16, another double-digit seed in Gonzaga. Can the Cuse keep on going?
I think so, and you pointed it out. They've played 2 mid-majors so far, and I know that Dayton and Middle Tennessee are 2 really good teams, but they don't stack up to Syracuse in terms of their size and then some of their ability on the perimeter. And when you look at Gonzaga, even though they do have the size that Syracuse has, the mindset of Syracuse and the fact that they are playing another double-digit seed, I think that that's going to help propel them into the Elite Eight.
Syracuse is one of 6 ACC teams in the Sweet 16. That's Quite a time for ACC basketball fans. Virginia, the 1 seed in the Midwest, are they now the clear favorite in this wide open bracket?
You know, I would have to say so. Being the #1 seed obviously makes you a favorite, but you know, you look at them, they're playing Iowa State, who struggled a little bit this year. Two contrasting styles. Iowa State loves to score, Virginia loves to defend, and then once they get to the Elite Eight, if they do, they're going to place a double-digit seed, and whether it's number 10 Syracuse or number 11 Gonzaga.
Former Murray State coach Steve Prohm has a great offensive team in Iowa State. They will get a test in Tony Bennett's defensive Virginia Cavaliers. Going to be an interesting Midwest bracket. I think that's going to be fun to watch. A very contrasting styles game between Virginia and Iowa State, and a couple of teams not expected to be there in Gonzaga and Syracuse. Back to the phones we go. And I'm going to have to get used to not doing that. Let's go to Thomas. Thomas, thanks for calling in. You're on SportsLine.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well.
Okay, I just had a comment. I don't know if you could ask, come on, TV down here. I just wanted to ask him, I know it's part of the game and the coaches go through it all the time. When they change coaches, a coach leave for another school, somebody come in and, like you said, they're watching him and see the progress he's made, and they may offer him another job or something. But it's kind of disappointing in a sense. I know you have to look out for his family and himself and take the opportunities. But when you do that, it sets the program back.
Sure.
When you change coaches, like Cooper, when he was here, he started off good and everything, and I don't want to sound selfish. I'm a avid TSU fan, and but when that happens, it seems like it sets the program back, the community, the school, the spirit, everything, and it's part of the process. I understand that too, but I just hope. I wish you could ask him if he don't know right now, I guess. But I just wish he would stay. I wish he wouldn't leave, But I know he got to do what he has to do. And I'll hang up and see what you have to say.
Certainly, Thomas. I would ask Dana, except for these segments tonight taped from last night, so he's not here for me to ask him or pass your question along. But I can tell you, I talked to him earlier today after having him here last night. He doesn't have any plans to go anywhere right now. He's focused completely on recruiting and moving on to next season at Tennessee State. I can also tell you that I have heard his name brought up by other people and some athletic directors and things, just eyeing situations around the country. So I don't think it's unrealistic that whether it's sometime this offseason or if he has another good season next year, maybe then, that somebody would come a-calling on him. And that's just a difficult place we live in. Realistically, the resources at Tennessee State, I know Teresa Phillips doing everything she can to make it more and more attractive there. It's going to be hard to compete against some of the bigger jobs that might be interested in him. And I think even these coaches are well aware of what you're talking about as setting programs back or leaving guys that they recruited and families that entrusted their sons with them when they come in. They all understand that. But also, you got to think about this. You know, if you're at your job and someone comes by and wants to offer you the opportunity to double or triple or quadruple your salary, give you a chance to win awards or championships or, equate it to your own job or profession, but give you those opportunities, you're going to take that, right? So I'm never going to fault a coach for taking a better opportunity, because oftentimes they are better opportunities for them and their families. Got to take a break. We'll be back. Wrap things up after this.